partners, and a lovely good afternoon to all Indian partners. On behalf of all EDUREFORM members, I, Dr. Sangeeta Pant, Dean, Chitkara College of Education, Chitkara University, and coordinator of the EDUREFORM project, extend a warm welcome to all of you. I would like to congratulate and express gratitude to our esteemed partner, Shivaji University, Kolhapur, for organizing this wonderful EDUREFORM inaugural event. A huge thanks to Dr. Pratibha and entire team members of Shivaji University, Kolhapur. I also welcome Dr. Rajendra Parijat, Associate Professor and Keynote Speaker of today's expert talk, who has very graciously accepted our invitation. Before we start, let me brief you about the EDUREFORM project. The full title of the project is EDUREFORM: Mitigate the Impact of the Fourth Industrial Revolution on Indian Society, Education Reform for Future and In-Service School Teachers. This project is co-funded by the Erasmus Program of European Union. The project has 11 partners across Europe and India, comprising universities, school, and a small enterprise. All the partners are enthusiastically working in collaboration and putting in great efforts to take the project to new heights. As I mentioned before, that the EDUREFORM project focuses on the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution is a fusion of advances in artificial intelligence, robotics, the Internet of Things, and many more. As a result of this technological storm, the fourth industrial revolution is paving the way for transformative changes in the way we live, work, and are governed. And very importantly, the fourth industrial revolution is set to change the employability prospects of Indian youth. The topic of today's talk is artificial intelligence and education, that is very relevant, and I'm sure that all the partners will get benefited with this expert talk.
Thank you. Thank you, Sangeeta.
Yeah.
Hello.
Just a minute, ma'am. Just a minute. So, according to the People Strong report, 1.5 million jobs would be annually lost in India due to automation. According to World Economic Forum, analytical, critical, and creative skills will be essential to keep up with our dynamic and more technological societies. Innovation in education is needed to shift away from the more traditional and theoretical learning methods. It will be extremely important to prepare the society for the upcoming changes, the education system being a crucial factor. EDUREFORM curricula aims to empower future and in-service school teachers to develop students' critical, analytical, and creative thinking skills. EDUREFORM curricula objective is to create a national best practices to support Indian national authorities to successfully cope with societal changes directly related to fourth industrial revolution. Now, floor is open. I request Dr. Pratibha to please introduce our keynote speaker.
Thank you, Sangeeta.
Thank you.
Hello. Welcome you all to the EDUREFORM inaugural event by Shivaji University, Kolhapur. I am Professor Dr. Pratibha Patankar, one of the Indian partner of EDUREFORM project of Erasmus Plus program, co-funded by European Union and coordinated by Chitkara University. The project is entitled as Mitigate the Impact of Fourth Industrial Revolution on Indian Society, Education Reform for Future and In-Service School Teachers. As this is inauguration event by the Shivaji University, Kolhapur, I would like to share about few things of our city and our university. Kolhapur city, where the Shivaji University is located, has very rich socio-economic and cultural heritage. This city is a focal point of educational opportunities in 19th century for all classes and communities in Maharashtra under the socially reformist leadership of Chhatrapati Shahu Maharaj, the princely ruler of Kolhapur. It is the important center of Marathi film and entertainment industry also. Our Shivaji University is established in 1962 and is named after the great Maratha warrior of 17th century and founder of the Maratha Empire, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. This is one of the state university and more than 3 lakhs of students are studying on campus and 280 affiliated colleges and institutions. The jurisdiction of the Shivaji University is spread over 3 districts as Kolhapur, Sangli and Satara. Our Department of Education is about 42 years old and one of the second one oldest university in Maharashtra. Yes, now I am very much excited to introduce Dr. Rajendra Parijat. He is MBA with marketing and production. He is well-known academician, entrepreneur, and marketing manager, working as an associate professor in Chhatrapati Shahu Institute of Business Education and Research, C-Cyber, a well-known autonomous institute in Kolhapur. He has worked extensively in the domains of social media, market, and business education as an investigator. He is teaching project management and also giving expert talks in production management, marketing management, skill development, career management, and change management. He has experience in positioning and launching of brands. Dr. Rajendra Parijat is only professor in commerce and management who has registered trademark for knowledge and tourism. Since pandemic crisis, he is working on many startups in trade and industry. Sir is honored with ASMA Award. This is the reputed ad agency in Maharashtra. Besides his career and extension, he takes care about animal welfare, arts and culture, civil rights, social actions, socio-economic development, human rights, poverty alleviations, and science and technology. As we know that fourth industrial revolution is fusion of artificial intelligence, IoT, robotics, and many more, today's speech and speaker both are relevant to the project. So this is very brief introduction of speaker. I know that all of you are very much eager to listen the expert talk by Dr. Rajendra Parijat on artificial intelligence and location. So thank you very much. And now over to the speaker, Dr. Rajendra Parijat, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Parijat madam. I hope my voice is reaching to you all.
Yes.
Yes.
That is a very important question every time we have learned in last 2 years because of the online classes. Thank you. I first of all want to express my gratitude for the team of these 11 partners who have brought us together. Rather, my first question is, what brings us together? Is it the situation or the perception of reality, or really we mean to get something out of the discussion? Because online events are very often now, and then we are fatigued, including the owner of Zoom also has reported that continuous meetings online, and then people really are worried because of the cognitive load which is produced. But besides that, let me tell you about why I must have been chosen by Parijat madam for this particular cause. Because the career history which which I have gone through is in India, we don't make career as per our aptitude or likings or go ahead plans made by some system or something like that. What you want to do and what you have to do is the gap always for any youth. So when I was studying, I was really going ahead with a lot of ideas to start with, and then I was the one to start with marketing information system through which I was introduced to informatics. So I'm one of the internet users in Kolhapur since 1995. So I've been using internet exclusively for so many years, and so I have a lot of virtual exposure and experience and connect with various people in India as well as abroad. And being that way lonely in this place, maybe a time has come that my experience, the department and the university felt that could be quite relevant to you. After my session and these reforms, as they will take place in the coming times, time will prove whether I was relevant or not. But at least it's a opportunity for a person like me to tell you that how I feel about it. When I was given this call to say that now we want you to talk on this, I was working for my preparation, and I really went ahead with a lot of references and ideas also, because I've been doing various other things. I just organized myself. One of my areas is change management, which I've been teaching for the last 5-6 years. And Dr. Hess from UK, who is the only great author in this particular subject and very well-known academic personality, I was using his references, and I talked to him last year when I started with change management courses for outside industries also. And David Gartin, who is a pioneer in knowledge management from London, to whom I'm connected from 1999. Of course, you will feel that as if I have moved all around the world. True, I have, but it is all with the virtual connect with various people like that, for which I never had to leave my place. It was only a connect, a very appropriate connect, and what you want to do and what you have to do. One can really remove the gap into all this. Probably that is the reason, that maybe our university felt that the things could work out, and let this man come out and tell something about it. If you ask me, am I eligible to talk on this? Then also it's a big question. I feel myself also in the dilemma, because basically we are all teachers, and teachers have to do a lot of policing jobs these days, including moral policing, which is the birthright of all the teachers in India. We do a lot of moral policing also like that. So along with our regular responsibilities, there is a lot of burden of various other things which are indirectly or directly connecting to the framework of our logic and cognitive domains where we really are concerned about. So in that case, I would say I'm the most eligible person, because I'm the sufferer. And I'm suffering a lot being a teacher, along with my context, situation, and handling so many things around me with my students. Very rightly said that once I realized about my own career, I started counseling and advising rather my student. And I have a condition for my this type of extension work, that till the age of 30, like anybody who comes to me and who is below age 30, I simply guide them, just giving my time, no fees, nothing like that. The very reason is, I understand that there is a lot of knowledge gap and there are so many other things. Coming to the main focus of today's discussion, that is our main part, what we are really expected to do. I would like you to understand what really we want to do. I was mentioning to you that when I was preparing about all this, what happened to me was that I really wanted to speak on behalf of community of the teachers, for the teachers, because this collaboration is going to work a lot. There is a hidden fear about employment, unemployment, and the future also. And I don't know, but AI is something, along with 4.0 revolution, the way we are talking about, is creating some different impression among society and all the responsible members of the society. Here, I really want to let you know that I started with this speakers mode because I did not want to facilitate myself with ICT or something, to show that human intelligence is very important and we are not made for technology, but technology is made for us. That is something very, very important. So let me put my case with my logic, my experiences, where I'll be talking and giving you a lot of references of what I have read, what I've experienced with the people. So most of them are real and testimonial. It is not just imagination or some reference work done for research paper. Here in this particular case, first thing I want to make it clear to all the participants here that there is a great impression that if the AI comes or if artificial intelligence is there going to be in the education, what are teachers supposed to do? I believe that teachers have to very honestly acknowledge this particular change and transformation. This acknowledgement is very, very important. A rightful acknowledgement is very important. We are not supposed to develop anything or something like that. When the topic given to me was discussed with my colleagues and my friends in computation and computer sciences, everybody looked at me and said, what are you going to really deal with that? Because I'm not a born programmer. Rather, I did a lot of operation research, but I was not a programmer. So what am I going to do with AI? I said, that is the thing, because those who are not well versed or conversant with AI are going to have a lot of issues in coming future. And so I'm going to talk more about how education is going to go ahead with this connected to AI. And then the first thing which I found, even supported by a professor in Cambridge, if you just look at YouTube and find out, very important thing is that we have to just practically acknowledge this new change, and that's all. We are not supposed to develop something. So it's not something like, like the epidemiological things happening around, like rushing fast or running fast like that. But here I would like to give a reference because again, I had met an epidemiologist who was from our area, who works for WHO. And he told me immediately after the first lockdown in India in 8 to 15 days that, listen, see, we are in such a field, we are in a process field, live field. So this particular corona thing only is going to be, the laboratory for us to learn everything, because such a type of, blunders never happen in, so many years. It happens once in some time or something like that. So this is all learning for us. Let me tell you, in case of AI or IoT, it's not something that is really going to be a great challenge like the epidemiological challenge we had for corona. It is going to be a very collective challenge for collective intelligence and people who are networked more in a very proper sense. Let me also tell you that we are not able to understand, our brains are also evolving. One of my colleague and friend who was adjunct professor at Shivaji University in the nanophysics department, he had worked with a very interesting neurofocus subsidiary, the subsidiary of A.G. Nelson and Company. And he used to tell us that, please understand, our brains are evolving and our children's brain also are evolving. We are evolving a lot. And so our brains are changing. So here in the case of education, what we are supposed to do is that we have to convert the word education or teaching, learning into simple learning for the lifetime. That means learning for everybody, learning for all, and learning at any time. If that is the way we adopt it, then we are much closer to what really AI is going to do about it. And once we understand that, like machines are also being developed to talk to each other and really bring in the real sense of artificial intelligence into our life, then we understand that, yes, we are not supposed to develop like a programmer or do something or do some exercise or use devices or something. We have to acknowledge it, understand it, and then find the application. Like we find a device application, anything, something new which we buy or use like that, we are going to go ahead with that. But in this, the main problem for all of us in case of AI is, how should be the approach? And in that particular case, I want to talk to you more. Maybe my talk sometimes appears a bit philosophical, and it will be carrying a lot of terminology which you may be familiar or over familiar or may not be familiar, but let me put it broadly because I'm not fully aware of all your partners, that we are having a combination of judgmental, empirical, experiential, and non-judgmental thinking patterns along with the teachers. I work more in higher education, so I have come across all such teachers. And here it has nothing to do with the boundary of India or anybody else, because everywhere it is going to be the same. The extent of, you can say, empirical or judgmental percentage, whatever it would be there to a person, would differ from subject, faculty, or any other thing. But very important aspect is that very few of us are into experiential part of it, because we are highly connected. We are highly connected to the, empirical rather than that judgmental part of our life. We are too judgmental. And that judgmentalism has come due to the classroom environment so far, which we have been loving a lot. So, in that case, if you are too judgmental, you feel that you are, somehow discarded or disrespected by the new student community, or at times it happens that you are respected, but your advice or your knowledge is not appropriately acknowledged by society itself. In such a case, the empirical approach goes with something more, and it really makes a lot of sense. It makes such a sense that all those who are now working in data sciences evolving very fast, especially the Delhi bulletins of death and birth, has taught data science to the entire world. So in such empirical environment also, some people go with that approach and they feel that how they will cover up with AI and how they will bring it into the educational stream or something like that. Then comes non-judgmental, more philosophical, more comfortable, and more interesting part, that is Being non-judgmental, how we are really going to work about it. Here again, this non-judgmental approach also, I would say, will be not so much good as far as whatever I have met people with and learned and read about it. But I believe that we should be more natural in our approach rather than either judgmental or empirical or experiential or non-judgmental. If we'll be more natural to the entire situation, then artificial intelligence coming into our lives would be bringing something great to our future. The trends somewhere, 20, 30, 50 years back was to concern more of our history. History was very important for us. And we were more concerned about past. And now in this last 10, 20 years, or say 21st century, we are more concerned now about what is called as, futurology and futurological trends, how they are going to help us, how they are going to work about it. I want to make it clear here that all these concerns, all these ways where we are looking at future is something a very wrong and odd habit that you are really going to look at. The reason is we are too much worried about future and we are trying to run away from reality. I ask many people, including my students, what is the reality connect of what you are talking? What is the reality connect of what you are doing? I find that we are losing reality in this, and that is why I say that whatever is the challenge of education or whatever is the challenge of artificial intelligence, being brought into this, what we require is nothing else but a very natural approach, because we are living things and our responses are natural. More natural responses we give to the ecosystem that we are living in will be more successful either in evolving or in revolution or in reforming also. Please understand that all that started with the internet from 1961 till now is nothing else but networking of the right people. So networks today are very successful, but the people working on the networks are not ready to agree many things. Even for AI, it is said that the last Bising consensus was there, and once for all, everybody agreed that how AI could come into all the streams of life. But then it took so much of time because human beings were involved in that. So the most important concern for this, after this particular crisis also, I believe, for AI or education is that this successful networks and continuous flow of information now will be more integratively networked, and there will be lot of stored intelligence through machines. That is something very important. So security aspects, reality connect, and lot of checking and proving will be there. That will be a great trouble for the teachers. So I said that it's not moral policing, but it's a technology policing more, which creates fear for the teachers, which all of us we have to learn. We have to understand that association with our devices needs to be made simple. We are not supposed to be 24/7, working or on the task and connected like machines. We are human beings. We follow a circadian cycle of sun and moon. So we have to take sleep and we have to have our own lifestyle into a very traditional and slow manner. Then only our intellectual ability will be very properly and very positively, understood. Somewhere we are mistaken because of the cultural differences, geographical differences, political differences, and so many of our perceptions, receptions, and at times, the context getting enlarged or context getting, totally disrupted. We don't agree with each other. Here, I would like to quote, the definition of how intelligence comes into existence by J. Krishnamurti. If you know Jiddu Krishnamurti, the philosopher and an independent thinker of the century, he says, intelligence comes into being when the brain discovers its fallibility, when it discovers what it is capable of and what it is not. So this, what it is not, if we really find out in terms of AI, I think we'll be more successful and we'll be more positively going and looking at many such things. Right now, in the beginning itself, I think Pant Madam explained about jobs being lost and so many other ideas, the concern and the worries about youth and all that. But the latest, the data for India also, at least what I know is that a lot of employment has taken place in last just 2 months like that. And the rate has come down because the construction industry has started working in a very positive and very strong way. That is something very great and something very important. So in all this, what is more important is that though we have the tool of knowledge, though we have, the ability to go ahead with, our own tools of network programming and artificial intelligence, or for that matter, even abductive logic or whatever they say, what is more required is that the real life concern of all these particular things. The real life concern is somewhere different. And so that is why I believe that this challenge, the way it is perceived, should be first stopped. We are into some mythical way of looking at it. We try to boast our intelligence too much. And so that is a problem for teachers. As I said, I'm here to represent the case of teachers and not of the programmers or the top 10 brands who are working on intelligence, artificial intelligence. Because when I search, even for the government websites all over the world, I came to know that everywhere the agenda is important. So we are working with benchmark bodies of the world. It may be UNESCO, it may be it may be WHO, it may be all such international bodies who are benchmarking the world. Finally, now when we are talking about education, there is a difference into universalization and unification. So all the teachers, all the faculties, all the education community at once, like an internet, cannot represent everything of knowledge core. So there is always something like when we show an apple and we say that this is a more and this is a core. So core is learning for a teacher and make others learn. And the more around us, that is all internet and technology which has made around us, is all not relevant, all not usable. But we are too utilitarian about it. And so we want to change everything. You can change your mind in a flash of a second, but you cannot change resources in a flash of second, minutes, or something like that. For people to change, it takes a lot of time. If that was not true, then definitely walls and a lot of heritage buildings and a lot of inhibitions in the world would not have taken 30 years, 100 years to be demolished and remove the social differences in the world. The way the world thinks, the society thinks, a typical definition of society which has evolved out of European communities' development of their own thought, philosophy, ideology, and a very strong, staunch base of science and technology, has some limitation of vision, considering now this new world, which is a global world, which is more connected, which is more exchanging, and not at all isolated, but come more closer. So the needs of the world have changed, and so the people have changed, and so the society has changed. Teachers, as a part of this intelligence or intellectual community, if they think that they can solve these problems, they can give solution to all this, it is not possible. Knowledge itself is a continuous process, and knowledge, the next step philosophically is the wisdom, and it has a limitation of time. What we have learned in last 2 years crisis of Corona is that the best development you need for the world is human. Everything that you want to count upon as a unit of development, it is the humanity or human, not money, not capital, not technology, not this project, not that project. So everything, if we calculate, plan, considering the human part of it, human nature, how it works, how natural it is, then only we can think of it. Otherwise, all that we are really thinking, planning, and just streamlining the information from here and there, I believe that we are simply lost into the debris of information. And this information, now we want more data keepers. Now we want more gatekeepers. Now we want more people to manage the data, apply the logic, abductive logic, or even streaming like that. When I was speaking to many of the people from industry, they were telling me, now the AI has turned from a very fine definition some 10, 20 years back. Now it is a tool of statistician. Everywhere in the world, all the statisticians are working out the probability first of applying AI to various situations. And then now they are talking about it. The first person, I think Professor James, who started with the idea of this artificial intelligence, also disagrees with artificial intelligence talks today, because he says that when it all started, it was not the same. I have been reading, and I was a part of Technology Journalists Association also. I have done a lot of internet literacy programs from 1995 to 2000 in many places in India. There I have come to know, I used to tell the history of internet from 1961 to 1992, so many things like that. I have learned that there was a very common name which I used to give, and it is John von Neumann. John von Neumann was a great man. mathematician, also a member of atomic bomb preparation in the world, but he had given a great contribution in the field of science and technology. And then one of his speech, which was very important into some, I think, memorial lecture in the case of some scientists, was so important. John von Neumann had simply said about computers, because he was a part of developing, the first ever computer at the then times, like that. He said, human beings have psychological integrity and machines are consistent. Human beings are not consistent. We get tired. Even if you now are listening to me and you feel that, this I know, then you would switch off the window and try to see something else, because we get tired. We are human. So he said, the psychological integrity of human being and consistency of machine is clubbed together. End of the century, we'll see wonders of the world. And that is true. We are all watching, observing, enjoying wonders of technological combination. But what is the business doing? What is the reality connect? I believe that here the John Nash model is working in much better way. The world is playing like, game. It's a game. More offensive you are, I'll be more offensive. More defensive you are, I'll be more defensive. We are not doing reality in what we really teach and preach in colleges and schools. There we talk a lot of idealism. It's a sort of new utopia which is coming in to our brain, saying that we have to save this earth, we have to save this world. One of my geologist friends said that, forget it. Earth has lived so many years. We are there for some 50, 100 years, sir. Don't bother about rocks and water and all that. Everything will happen on its own. Believe in nature more. I was shocked. No, the people running after all ecological things and, eco-friendly that, eco-friendly this, sociology, this and all that. I said, look, he is saying like that. He said, people talk more about it. Very few people do something about it. And that is where the role of education is, I believe. Teachers are not supposed to now lecture, but as it is, everybody agrees that we have to facilitate our student by our own example of how we live. Our own living is going to change ourselves to accept this challenge of artificial intelligence. I would also like to quote a very interesting example of Niels Bohr. There is a book written by Abraham Weiss and all his very good explanations about how scientists and great people think. We know that Niels Bohr also was a part of this physicist, theoretical physicist, atomic bomb connected personality, very famous. A lot of students used to come him, always covered by his disciples, and they enjoy and have fun in his residence like that. So there is one incident that on some tercentenary speech he was preparing for Newton, and then he went in their times in 50s. There was always a blackboard, he said. So there is a good picture on internet of how he wrote on blackboard. He just scribbled there and wrote harmony and started discussing harmony. Let us theorize it. What is harmony? So then a lot of discussion went on, and then how and what he should speak. A lot of his students, research student went on. Immediately he put one dot into that scribble. Afterwards, you can check it on internet also if you really are interested. It was nothing else, but he said, harmony is not theoretically possible. It is uniformity. So again, when it comes to internet, and when it comes to technology, when it comes to connecting people, when it comes to applying information, when it comes to integrative, informative sciences to do something good for humanity, this utopia that only IT revolution can change the world in terms of education, we should forget. We are human beings. Follow everything by human measurement system. We are failing to measure our success and failure because we have reached to the limitations. Our brains are evolving, but our brains are not trained to work for 24 hours, like as if we are sitting in a spaceship or something like that. We are reaching the physical limitation of humanity, and in that case, all that is really needed is that benchmarking ourselves to the wellness first. So reality is demanding something totally different. If this cycle of business, more of it, because I'm from business and management, I've been meeting people. I have found that simple people, those who are not educated, learned, fought Corona in a very different way, the way we taught them. They did in a very different style and new way. So then we understood the importance of innovation. But all the innovators in the world now have learned one word called startup. So anything that is not readily accepted, they say that it is startup. But how long it is going to survive and how long it is going to sustain? And can you really universalize it for the whole world? Is it universalization or unification? Nobody knows about it. And that is why I gave you the example of Niels Bohr's explanation that such a great person who could theorize anything into anything, he said, harmony It is not possible. It is uniformity. So world is running after, the uniformity of all this. Teachers want a calm and quiet picture of reality with all the idealism put into it. If the idealism is not comfortably put into his or her logical framework, teacher is very much uncomfortable, because then it doesn't, give him a chance to, in a delighted and motivated way, to tell or teach his student or her student in that particular fashion. I believe that teachers have to gracefully walk out of the classroom, come to the experiential part of the life, and understand how reality is connected to life, not to the syllabus. I think if we start from that, artificial intelligence is just a very small beginning of few technocrats in the world. That is the way one should look at it. I'm not here to put a case or for and against debate of something, but let me tell you, I believe that the way we are perceiving AI is something like threat is foolish. There are a lot of jokes on AI also on internet. I was searching to make my lecture interesting. So there is one particular joke that AI is not good, highly replaceable for any human stupidity that one can do. There is no replacement for human stupidity in AI. And that's a great thing, because the very natural way to look at it is very important for us. Because all our five senses will naturally respond to a situation. And the way I did it, why do I want to adulterate it? Why do I want to add a lot of bias? And I'm trying to remove my judgmental bias and bring in the technological importance, technological tools and all that, and say that have this. Somehow, when I was talking about it, somehow when I met this Department of Education people, the word meta is now a very magic word. I call magic number magic word like that. And from today onwards, I think the Facebook is changing the name to metaverse and something like that. When we used to study physics and all that, we had a professor and we used to talk about physical and metaphysical. All that is happening in AI is a metaphysical debate of all those who are learned mathematicians, learned sociologists, and learned community in the world who are trying to put the things in good shape and all that. It's a sort of good policing for the society. But these networks are not connected to the real-time development of the world. So the challenge is the real research has to be undertaken by the research community in education to shape and benchmark it. The current benchmarking bodies like UNESCO or or anything for that matter, from wellness to well-being, if you really want to go ahead with that, I believe that all the innovative and constructive thinkers have to be brought in. A lot of debate and brainstorming has to be done, and we have to come with some common minimum program. If you really want to go with the AI thing, AI cannot be just accepted with protocols and tools. You will die being a machine at the end. Again, I would like to quote a discussion of Krishnamurti with David Bohm. He was a great physicist, and you know that his dialogues are very famous with Krishnamurti. He has said that it is a ceasing of existence. You finally become a complete machine when you are dying. And that he said somewhere between 50s and 60s. And now in 2021, we are becoming aware of it, because culture of every country, culture of every place is playing a very important role in all this. The organizational culture, the societal culture, and the educational culture are deeply varying from each other, and that is why a lot of new divides have come in. So I would say, then go back, refer to Amartya Sen. Inequality should be re-examined first if you really want to know, education, how it is going to work. Before you start studying or developing something for AI, let us re-examine the inequalities if you really want to go about it. He has got a very famous book also, that Country of First Boys or something like that. All his additional essays are there, random essays. India is very famous because first boy is very important for Indian culture. These are his random essays Amartya Sen has written. It is something more than well-being. So if you are going to adopt such well-being and well-thought, you can say orientations about things, this, I believe, graceful walking away from classroom to reality for the teacher is the solution for understanding artificial intelligence. I respect a lot for those people who work in artificial intelligence development. I respect a lot about the diplomat also who work in benchmark organizations like WHO or many other places. I also respect university authorities, professors, teachers, and other staff members also who form the system of education. But the problem is that the role clarification in changing times is only given to few teachers or few people in the system. If you want to convert to AI, First thing that would happen is that in the spirit of universalization, you will be allotted with a lot of machines. And if you don't know how to behave with machines, then you become fall a prey of the technology more and tools more. You are not supposed to develop a tool, but you are given a tool and then you lose a freedom. Again, choice is a denial of freedom. We all are looking for freedom and more freedom and more freedom. But where to keep it on the earth? We are dying actually. The real-time connection of life, one-time life, for a child from small KG to finally doctorate, how much his brain is going to take up for survival, for his employment, for the betterment of society, somebody has to estimate. Without that, just getting and rolling into the streaming of the technology, when we think that business at the speed of thought would work, will not be very effective for any of us. That is possible only for some good company. Now we see that big brands or top 10 people in AI or IT or Silicon Valley have a big utopia of running the whole world rather than nations. So again, a new system is being evolved. So we are falling into the line of a new development. We are supposed to follow that. That's okay. But as I said, kindly acknowledge the change. See, when I learned change management, very important part is that there is a trigger for every change. There was a lot of this nitrocellulose available in the world. Only when the bullet was made, the violence has increased. So the innovation of bullet is the trigger of the change in the violence. That is the way. So when it comes to AI, I don't think there's so many discussions around and people talking about it, really matters, and it really comes to a trigger. AI is not the trigger. IoT can be a trigger, Internet of Things, because many people waiting for so many great things in their life just come to know that this is possible, this is available, this I want to do, that is okay. That's a primary application of Internet. But that doesn't mean that you become successful, you get money, you are satisfied, you are manifesting, you reach to wisdom and die happily. Nothing like that. So it is the same way. It's a new tool, new technology, new century tool, new way to look at life, where it is freedom from known. AI is allowing the teachers to have freedom from the known knowledge of your current faculty. So you will have to repackage, make it more concise, optimize it, and prepare in a new form, not curricula, not syllabus, but as a big system of knowledge for the entire world, where there will not be any threat of any type of conflict into that. This education for all the broad aims and ideological things have one thing in common, that they are not completely tangible at once. So, people will change, the leaderships will change, the social leaderships will change, technocrats will change, and the shape and size and color of the aims and objectives and dreams keep changing. And society blindly follows like that. Most of the time, there are only chosen few people who try to shape or change the path of it. AI is a group of people who have come together because of Internet as a part of collective integrated intelligence, trying to help everything in the world. I have seen a lot of case studies in AI also, where I come to know that to solve simple, small problem also, everywhere I want to use AI. That is foolish and rubbish. One should not really go about it. One should be more rational, and I would say not just gross rational, but net rational or extraordinarily rational to understand the complete reality. The totalitarian approach is more important than utilitarian approach for the teachers. I don't think that teacher is responsible for any possible change happening. Teachers are the managers of the society. They try to eliminate a lot of ill and bad things before happening. That is true. And that is why moral policing has become a part of their life. And now the new AI system is asking you to interact with machines, where the rules will be made by machines. Machines will interfere or crack jokes or try to interact with you, even with the feelings also. And that is somewhere, maybe if teachers are feeling that if their freedom will be lost, it will be never lost. That is why today I decided I will not use any PowerPoint, I will not use any reference from Internet, because I wanted you to listen to me, because that is the strength of being human. So we have to understand our human intelligence has faced many such challenges before also, and many more challenges are going to come in one's lifespan. If about 20 years back, it was only 4 to 5 jobs to be taken, now it is, say, 8 to 9 jobs maybe in the transition you will have to take. But let us not just estimate something about future. I had a chance to meet a great professional called Dr. Lakshmi Paula Haran, who is a grandmaster of Reiki. She had once been to Kolhapur, and she's a very good thinker also. In the Corona period, she taught us three very important things, which apply here also in terms of if you are looking AI as a challenge, if you are looking AI as a threat, and if you are looking AI as an opportunity also. What are the three things one should really ask for this if you really want to contextualize all this, AI and education? What is your fear? Please answer yourself. What is your doubt? Please answer yourself. And what is your hope? Answer yourself. She has guided us, or she publicly tells us that clinging to hope is very bad. That is the way we are denying our present. And if we are denying our present and thinking too much about the future, we are destroying our future. That is cessation of your human being and becoming machine. Okay, if what is wrong if we become machine also, let the next generation decide. We have to see that the real-time connect with life will tell us something which is really going to be more, you can say, vital for the current times. When I meet students, when I really talk to students, I feel a guilt, because I believe that the fees they paid, the syllabus which is mentioned, and the job which is to be given to them, the employers who have completed their education some 7-8 years back, ask them questions and try to run the 3 Idiots show in a very bad manner. Actually, those who have learned online or latest inputs have been given by teachers should be employed first in the chain, rather than looking at experience and eligibility and feasibility thing. Unfortunately, that triangle of logic, where the human interface is into a very bad shape of derived morals out of business stories, is a big trouble for employment. Our standards, our values, faith and belief needs to be modified, even if they are biases or they are, you can say, wrong beliefs also. They should be upgraded. Prejudices, I mean to say. If you have prejudice about me, update it. Thoda aur bhi badhao prejudice, koi fark nahi padta. But then update it. That is very, very important. Go with the time. It is going to make a lot of sense. You may feel that I'm not connecting to the typical listing or distinct type of what is artificial intelligence and what is education, all that. I don't want to do it, because then if you sit with the internet, within 20 minutes, you'll get a lot of data, a lot of figure, a lot of cognitive fear also. Ore baap re, aisa hone wala hai, fir kya kare on something? Nothing like that. The core domain of being human, having received the capacity of brain, a normal brain, that too getting into the career of teacher, if you are there, I believe that one should be very happy. One should be very calm and quiet, because you are getting a chance to learn again with your children, your students. You are getting a chance to shape some part of the social fabric which is changing in these changing times. And at the same time, when it really goes with something which is really going to make sense, let the society decide. I would like to give reference. Yuan Shuang, when it comes to globalization, took 17 years, okay, from China to India, his visit, very famous. He carried so much of things with him that he really did a very great job in that time. And it was almost more than 50 kingdoms he passed through. So globalization's cost. A teacher should always believe in Yuan Shuang, because then for you to reach, many teachers might have taken 20 years to reach to some stage of life as a teacher. But then for that, he traveled 50 countries, the then times, and came here and studied so many things, took a lot of scriptures to China, it is said. Okay. There is one more movie called Last Emperor, which is best on again teaching, learning, a small kid being trained as a Chinese emperor. And finally, when it is democratized, there is a very last scene into that. There are 2-3 servants who are helping him to even pick up the shuttle when he's playing tennis. But when it is announced that now that whole thing is over, imperialism is over, he simply picks up the shuttle himself, showing that he is a common human being like that. So if you look at the history of the world, if you look at the development of science and technology, I would like to also give a very responsible quotation by Dr. Gishi, whom I had met. He is from Croatia, in Bangalore for Knowledge Management Conference. He said, the green revolution is over, the blue revolution is over. For India, he said, Indian elephant is going to dance. Okay, green economy with woman leadership is the picture of new world. I believe that this happened in some 2007, we listened to him. But now each and every word he said is really happening. And forget just India, we are a big community, all these 11 partners. who think that we have some responsibility towards AI and towards education. And here, education, the first thing for me in the course is that out of the classroom. Don't call it deschooling or something, out of the classroom. And not just for the sake of the year of the course, but for life, for the entire life, how my teaching, training, learning is going to help. Then the things are going to change. So learning, which really matters for employability, will change. The current government framework talks about skill set which is missing. We are now making checklists of what is missing, what is missing, what is missing. Add to the syllabus, modify, change, system mein betao, bachon ko usme dalo and then do it. That is not the way it is really going to happen, because then an individual personality in 21st century with their own genetic reforms that have happened in their personality, which you and me don't know, that new generation will have some totally new different challenges for which they should be competent and compatible. If you want to know technically, I would say, so many years we have been talking only of computerization. AI is a computational challenge. It is not something to spread of technology, threat to people, and keep worrying, that what will happen, which will happen like that. That is the way one should really go about it. Otherwise, it becomes, for teacher, general talk or specific talk, and then teachers are always respected, in society. At least in Indian society, they are respected but never followed. That is a very interesting part of it. So in that case, I would say you just keep quiet, because you never come to know what happened about a thought you really delivered to a particular student and how he used it or something like that. Because the way the new generation is going to innovate is going to create lot of disruption. Innovation leads to disruption. Disruption leads to fractured or fragmented reality, which teacher cannot understand. So teachers are not supposed to understand this fragmentation. We are supposed to hit the domain of our core knowledge and see how we can accommodate this AI part into our life. That's the way I think. I would like to quote a Zen story for this. Zen is something which is referred, most of you know that. It suddenly flashes in a second. That is called Zen. That is the way of knowledge it comes. So there was a blind student who went to, the Zen guru, and he was sitting with him. And then when late evening it started, so there was no sunlight. And so the Guruji said, the master said, you better take this lantern with you, this lamp with you, and just walk. This blind student, he said, I have my stick and it has some, bell. So why should I need it? Then he said, Arey, you stupid, you take this because if somebody else who can see, but because there will be a darkness, okay, and if somebody hits you on the road, this lamp will show that somebody is walking, somebody is walking. So he took that lamp, and on the road when he was coming back to his place with his stick, the bell and the lamp, really somebody hit him very bad. That blind man was so angry that he really started shouting at him, saying that, don't you understand that I am a blind? I was having the stick, I was having the bell, and this lamp also was there. That fellow who had hit this particular blind man simply came closer, hugged him, and said, everything is fine, brother, but look at the lamp which you are carrying. There is no light in it. It's gone due to the wind. Zen stories, the morals is not to be expressed, in terms of what you can say, explicit observations or outcomes the way we do in formal research. Everybody takes his or her own moral from the story. I believe that if it comes to AI in education, we are somewhere like that blind student. We are carrying the stick. We are having the lamp also. Only thing is that we have to understand whether the lamp is lit or not, properly lit or not. That is the way I can look at it. Faculty-wise, if you really want to check, cross-check and all that, I believe that once we decide to come out of the classroom, will be more natural. If we'll be more natural, no judgmental business, no empirical business, no experiential business, nothing like that. More naturally, if we respond and acknowledge, AI will shape our future in a very fantastic way. And we have many more things to do in our future. That is the way I can look at it. I think I have given enough justice to what I had with me. There are many more references also, which I tried to give. Sorry, because I could have shared a lot of data and shown you this and that, but I felt that that is not the way. Talking in person, which you like, this was very important. if I have crossed the limit as a speaker, please forgive me. I didn't mean to advise anyone or give any suggestion also. These are my experiences and my way of looking at it. And the disclaimer is that it is my sole responsibility. Neither my college nor my university or something. It's my own thinking, which has come out of so many years experience and exposure to technology and many more things. If there are any questions also, please go ahead. Thank you very much. Thank you, the organizers, and thank you, the 11 partners, and the people who are very carefully listening to me. Thanks a lot.
Hello, Dr. Parijat. I hope I'm audible to you and to the other partners. So first of all, thank you very much for what has been a very different and distinctive lecture. We have appreciated the innovation of not going through a PowerPoint. As you mentioned, this is right now not the norm, and it makes the interaction very different from what we are used to. Thank you for the references to great thinkers, to philosophers, and to the many anecdotes and tales you have shared with us that most of us have never heard before. So there are several comments and questions from our consortium and also from the audience in the YouTube live stream. First of all, Dr. Kandagale and some other students have agreed with you that right now we have a cognitive load and there is no time for reflection because we are surrounded by great amount of information, and it's, as you mentioned, it's sometimes very hard to act. We think with all this information, but we never take the step to action. And then we have a question from Vita Calverdina. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. She agrees that we all have to learn from each other, as you mentioned, for collaborative learning. But she wonders, what could we then learn from artificial intelligence? And how can we learn from artificial intelligence? If you can give us an answer to her question.
Yes. We are made up of what? With our own training, learning, genes, genetic, heritage, and culture. So we have to check back whether we are naturally responding to all that we have lived so far or not. I think a lot of unnecessary extra information, extra baggage which we are carrying will be lost very immediately. That is the way Zen thing, makes you really realize. We don't need to have different packages, different courses, and there is they call remedial actions. There are no remedial actions in real time. You live and it's finished. That moment is finished. So don't bother about it. If you really understand the natural strength of a person, that is why I said gracefully coming out of the class, not locking it, rather making the whole nature your class would be the great answer. Because then for the same student, same faculty or same subject, you will have a new way and new method to interact with people, and it will go with something else. Even I will tell you, in India, there are a lot of benchmarks like Rabindranath Tagore and so many great other people, followers of followers of followers. Like it goes with Facebook, friends of friends of friends. Like so, it is percolation, sort of thing. Funnel is broken with the network now. It is not coming through countries, but lateral network of countries and people coming together. But finally, it's your conscious which has to answer you. It takes time. That is why I said 24/7. You should not behave like machine. Behave like human. First thing you understand that unit of development for the world is human, not technology. So what human can digest, manage, and comfortably live, that much only you take. Then things will be easier. This cannot be exactly what somebody is expecting, but I believe that relying more on your own natural strength and origin, if you look at it, a sort of introspection, very comfortably if you do, not with system, logic, data, nothing. Things will work out in much simpler way. I don't want to put my biases or my beliefs or my ideologies on. You find you will get it. That is very sure. If you are human, you will get it. No issues.
Thank you, Dr. Parijat. Your argument actually aligns with our project. So we want our project to differentiate humans from machines. So we aim to foster critical, creative, and analytical thinking through teacher training in secondary school students. So we believe, like, so far we are lucky that machines are not creative. So we want to foster what makes us humans indeed. I think a member of our consortium, Dr. Biswal, has a question for you. So I'm gonna give the floor for Ashutosh.
Yes.
Unmute. Okay. Thank you very much, Surya. Actually, I was listening, Dr. Rajendra. It was really good, and it was fully philosophical and logical. I appreciate you. But I say simply, whenever we are talking about the artificial intelligence, what do you recommend, whether there is any need of implementation of artificial intelligence in education? Okay, if there, what should be the mode? Natural mode or something like you just see in the use of computer. If you are not naturally, you are not going to use it. It will impose you to do that. Okay, what is the actual mode of using it? Or you think that artificial intelligence should not be used in the form of education, or what? Thank you very much, sir. Please, if you can react.
Okay. See, jobs are need of system. We unnecessarily personalize them. If system needs, jobs are created. So need of education, if you say AI, whether we need it or not, system will decide. System is made up of all the people in the society. There will be politicians, there will be stakeholders, there will be students. Today's students are more fanaticized by technology. Compared to standard YouTube, best lectures, like I forgot to mention, difficulty in being good by Gurcharan Singh. There is a difficulty in being good these days because Western streams, most of the time they believe that is lost because of a lot of greed, they say, philosophical thing. And Eastern people, they die out of jealousy, they say. That is what Gurucharan Das has said. Difficulties in being good. Difficulties in being good. There is a book by him, and he is very famous author who was once CEO of a car here in India. So the problem here is system decide jobs. So people in the system decide whether AI is needed or not. We took computerization because we felt that we will change the society. Now society changed. Our children are demanding more. They don't want to stay with us. They want to go abroad. They want to do this. They want to do that. So whether you want to complete that or not, that parents will decide. And if the more parents decide like that, more teachers will be required. More competition, more competitiveness is required. AI is a challenge in computation for those who are core working into it. AI is not a challenge for teachers. AI is a part of new wave coming into world, like so many other things are happening. Like there are so many other threats also, coming in, not just Corona. There are so many other, which few of us we know, few we don't know. So there is nothing wrong about it. Need is to be assessed in the context of benchmark bodies, your government and your organization, how it takes. If your organization where you are working is not acknowledging the changes happening in the real world around you in your place, then there is something wrong. That is why if teacher acknowledges, it is reported to the society. If teacher doesn't acknowledge it, society feels that all is well. That is a big trouble. So teachers should very officially, respectfully acknowledge AI, not just 4.0, industrial revolution. It's not like that. 4.0 thing also is not something that keep changing people and replace machines. It's not like that. It's over a period, people want to make the things simpler and streamlined. That is there. So why we think too much about some domain where we are not expert of or where we are not concerned? I believe that in the given domain, at organizational level, a degree of awareness, if we reach in a right sense and spirit, without any bias, if you accept that this is what is happening and how am I going to naturally respond to it, is very important. We are having more bigger moral burden of how my students will face this, how my management will do this, how my university will look after it. That is the next question. First, as a human being, how you take it. According to that, you find your way out. And then I think that would solve a problem. That may not be the immediate answer also to all the questions, but there will be a beginning for the answers if we have this unbiased. Like what I said, what it is not, let us find out. When we carve a idol into a stone, the expert, he will remove the unwanted stone. So that is what is expected. If teachers can do that, what is not AI, if they learn, things will be easier. That is what I believe. That is real educational reforms these people are looking at, I think.
Thank you, Dr. Parijat. We have another question along these lines from Dr. Naivandu Yoshi. So he wants to ask why there is such a big gap between teacher policies and what happens at the ground level. So he says that the young should foster their discontent and keep the spirit of inquiry alive, not falling into the routine of job security and a permanent kind of living. So what to do when academicians and policymakers, they do not know what happens on the ground realities, but they have a rose-tinted vision of their immediate social system, and they take pride of it. It's maybe formulated in a complex way, but I think you get the sense of the question. What to do when the ones deciding on the policies and benefiting from it are not willing to unfold their eyes and see what happens on the ground? So what should be done in those cases?
Yeah. I believe that time has gone to control the children from worrying about this thing, because now no, we could have stopped internet long back. Now it is not possible. So you can't stop incoming information around you. Number one. Number two is children being more inquiring and having awareness about everything are going to be more brighter, more matured, and more competent than what parents think. Why children migrate? Want to migrate? Why birds migrate? They migrate for food. So children are looking for food. Some food which their parents cannot give. So simple. So in that case, don't worry about how children will face. If they are genetically a part of you, they will find their own way. There will be unsupervised learning, but with reality connect. Then whatever AI, 10 times AI also if it comes, let there be exponential growth of the world. We'll have, apartments and systems on moon also, nothing will happen. We'll live very happy. Like we have started in space shuttles, isn't it? In 10, 15 years, you and me also will be going to moon with some space shuttle and having some trip for EDUREFORMs or something. What is wrong? There's nothing wrong. Let the reality takes its own shape. Why we bother about it?
Well, this actually matches our next two questions coming from Evelina Ziedina. The first one is, how do you think that educators will be able to cope with the flows of artificial intelligence in the future? This relates to your presentation because you have stated the fact that artificial intelligence can indeed lead to inequalities. But she has another question talking about you and me going to the moon. So what is your opinion about Elon Musk's idea of putting computer chips into the human brain to enable fast learning and acquisition of skills and enhancing the human brain? So as you know, Elon Musk is also planning to go to the space. And okay, so these are the two questions from Evelina.
Oh, okay. See, all these success stories, either from business or education or economics or any other faculties in the world in last 30, 40 years, have come in the discussion of teachers and society only because of information revolution. But the real heroes are still Isaac Newton, Einstein, and as they mentioned, this Niels Bohr and all that, because they had a very strong reality connect. So when you say now all these names which you mentioned, like I was told, if you are going to talk about AI, there is one very famous historian, and there is a book called 21 Questions about this thing. You please read that, chapter number so and so. I feel that I'll be biased because this is again information coming to me, like a breakfast or water you should drink 4 liters a day to keep your health, something like that. Let my stomach decide how much water I really want. Why all the time I want to go ahead with so much of information and all that. Then when I just looked at the glimpse of what that book was, I realized that the person who has written that book is a historian. And I forgot to mention one sentence, rather I was worried because I'm not a bestseller writer speaker. Okay, I don't represent that clan. Our country doesn't represent that. We are concerned very madly about what we think is right. That is a problem. That is a problem with every teacher, rather, I would say. So now such type of examples given, somebody would come and say, parallel to this in my country, there is some such like Elon Musk and, like that, would go. I believe that this is something out of context totally. And this is a problem, drawback of this information revolution. When you are working on a point, we lose the focus and context is enlarged suddenly and the situation is out of control. And then you feel fatigued. That is the next problem coming to you. I mentioned about my adjunct professor who recently expired due to his health, who was here from Neurofocus. See, when brain is learning, attention, focus, and pleasure-giving memory is a principle of learning. Attention of a student, focus has to be there, and whatever you exchange in learning, teaching learning, the memory should be happy memory. That is the only job of a teacher. That is the way brain works. If you have pleasure-giving memories in learning, that will remain with you throughout your life. If it is creating fear, if it is creating pressure, if it is creating trouble, it is a reaction against fear and threat. To some extent, threat also, including corona, we failed because human race is not developed enough ecological intelligence like other animals to respond to such microbiological small changes. That is a failure of human race. That is what the strong reality says. Because we never came to know how such a type of thing spreads, and this will make me suffer like that or something. So we develop more on this ecological intelligence of human race like other animals, which is missing. You know, like 11 partners, human partners, let us have some good jungles also with us. Let us also have some forests also with us, where we explore, we really go and find out what is all this, like other epidemiologists, you know, something. Then we make our race much stronger and better. I think, again, that comes to a reality connect, this schooling and out of classroom. And if internet can give us sitting at home all such experiences, well and good. All other partners in Europe can give us that experience. We'll give our judgment, not a problem. Even you can come to India for elephants and other this thing, no problem.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Parijat, for all the comprehensive answers you have given. I think as a project, you have motivated us to stop trying to theorize the future and to focus on what happens on the ground and to make a change day by day. I will request now Dr. Gitanjali Yoshi to do the vote of thanks to closure this inaugural event. Thank you very much, Dr. Parijat.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Celia. Good afternoon to everyone present here. On behalf of Department of Education, Shivaji University, Kolhapur, I am here to propose vote of thanks. First of all, I must say thank you very much to our honorable guest, Dr. Rajendra Parijat sir, for delivering very interesting lecture, though it was online lecture and without any presentation. Thank you very much, sir. You just made us to stick to the screen with your intellectual thoughts, and also you have make our concepts relating to artificial intelligence, how we can use artificial intelligence and education, or how to connect with reality with education. And you have started with the unemployment and then career building and etc. And also you have shown us a real picture of what is artificial intelligence, and should we take it as a threat, or should we take it as an advanced feature or advanced teaching tool there, so that teachers will make update themselves to float in the society or in this technological world, we can say. Thank you very much. You have also explained very interesting terms which are quietly unfamiliar to us, such as judgmental and non-judgmental thinking, or education we have to suppose as learning for everyone, and it should be only learning at any time. It should be available, or we have to repackage education with artificial intelligence and so on. Really your thoughts are encouraging very and motivating also for us and the whole education system, we can say. And you made this occasion very prestigious. You have spared your valuable time and graced this occasion. Once again, I must say thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, sir. Thank you. I would like also to thank the whole EDUREFORM team at Chitkara, including our project managers, dear Celia and Alda, along with Dr. Sangeeta ma'am, and each and every person who worked for this event, knowingly or unknowingly. I must say that thank you everyone. And I think this is the time of closure, isn't it, Celia? Yeah, okay. Again, to have such an interesting event, that too online event, we have made this possible because of I have to take the name of my department head also, Dr. Pratibha Patankar, ma'am, and all our technical team. Without their help, it is not be possible also. So thank you everyone, and have a nice day ahead. I think we should declare now the event is over. Thank you all.
Thank you.
We can leave the meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very
Have a
much.
nice weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank you, Parijat sir.